Oh, that's right. He was angry at the time.
He was so angry. Like, everybody was throwing Tootsie Rolls at him to shut him up. Like, if the chair looked at him wrong, like, fuck that chair.
I'm Matt Handy, and you're listening to My Last Relapse. How long did it take to become a nurse practitioner?
So it took 3 years after I got my bachelor's.
3 years after you got your
So
bachelor's.
I became a nurse. Oh,
You're good.
in 2018, and then I just kept going. So I've been a nurse practitioner since, God bless. So my child was born 22, so it's January 23.
So what is the difference between a regular nurse and a nurse practitioner?
A nurse practitioner can prescribe.
Okay, so you, like...
We can do everything except procedures, like doctors.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like doctor, then nurse practitioner, and then nurse.
Bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I hate doing that.
Yeah.
Because we're all together. Like, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Because I can't do mine if you can't do your...
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the medical industry is a beast anyway. So Dr. Shaw and I are looking at really changing addiction medicine. Mm-hmm. Just period, changing the way that specifically relapse is addressed. I'm sure you've heard all this stuff from him, right?
Yeah.
And so since him and I have like joined forces, we've created businesses and like really started getting copyright protection. And we were looking at a patent for a while, and then we got a bunch of information about that stuff. And so we are really creating the package now.
My brother-in-law's a patent lawyer.
So my uncle works at the top patent and contracts firm in the world.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Yeah,
And
I heard y'all are like a lawyer family. Like everybody that you have is lawyers.
Yeah. And so we got him on the phone, and he like kind of broke it down for us. And he specializes in medical patents and contracts.
Okay.
And so he helped us. He's actually done like some really crazy stuff. WebMD?
Yeah.
He helped with all of their patents and contracts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or all their contracts. But they were trying to like patent some stuff too. He also has worked with like doctors. So love Dr. Shaw, but ask him to make a business out of his idea, and it just...
Well, that's why he's a doctor.
Yeah.
Same with me. I'm like, my business partner, like, thank God she, like, I'm just like, oh, okay, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And then she's very, like, you know, like, organized, and, like, she can figure, you know, she will find every single penny for it. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's fine if they just lose $5.
So that's what's cool about our partnership is Jericho, like, went to a really high-level accounting school, right? And then worked with some, like, the big four in the accounting world, like, really, really got that, like, under his belt. And then worked for a couple private equity places and like really learned how to like raise capital. And so I get to do operations, and I get to do what I want to do and not have to worry about anything.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah.
And then with Dr. Shaw's brain, like his mind is amazing. Mm-hmm. And so we sit for hours every week and just record conversations. And like, this is where the whole podcast thing came in, was like, the idea was I can be the client and you can be the doctor, and we can just discuss stuff, right? And so we're creating a bunch of content around that kind of stuff. And ultimately, it's the ground floor of this giant package that we're creating around, the company's called NeuroWise.
Nice.
So it's Neuro, W-I-S-E, and it's an acronym.
Okay.
Right? And so we have like modules created around it now, and like, it's really cool.
I'm really excited. I want to see. I want to be a part of.
Yeah. I mean,
you just have to tell me what I need to do, and I mean, I love recovery no matter what.
Yeah. So I mean, ultimately, you're in the medical side of it too, so you see this more often than. And I think there's levels of curtains, right? There's like the inner sanctum of like what goes on in the recovery industry.
Yeah.
And then there's like layers of people being exposed to the truth of what's behind the curtain, right? And I think like the average client is on like the very outside of the realities of what goes on in treatment. And then there's like levels where it's like you get more access and you get more knowledge, and you get more access and you get more knowledge. And as you get closer to like fully seeing what's going on under the hood,
Yeah.
you start to see like, oh.
So when I worked at Serenity, when they first started, I was a recovery advocate. And then I decided to go become a nurse. And then Hurricane Harvey happened and like basically laid everybody off. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, I mean, I'm almost done. So I just went and became a nurse. And then I came back full circle and was a nurse practitioner there.
Yeah.
But then I was seeing like the other side of not being like on the recovery advocate side. So I never understood it.
So there's like the tip of the spear of recovery work, right? And this is like the ground floor people. It's the people who are in recovery that are now recovery coaches, and then counselors and like LCDCs. They're always in recovery, right? And they're kind of like the tip of the spear as far as like addressing issues individually, like on an individual level within organizations.
Yeah.
But then you've got like the higher levels of like administrative tasks and like decision making, where you see that there is a total disconnect between what the people at the tip of the spear are saying and what's actually going on.
Yep.
And so, everybody on the street, like everybody like boots on the ground, they're all like, we're in the business of saving lives. The reality is we're not in the business of saving lives.
No.
We're in the business of saving lives that can afford it.
Yep.
And so we're trying to change that, like the access to it. And like parity was like a big step in the right direction. But do you know who the Recovery Research Institute is? Okay. You should definitely look into them. But so SAMHSA, you know who they are, right?
Yeah.
SAMHSA is the government arm of like addiction medicine and policy setting.
Yeah.
Under that, they need to justify funding, right? And so they have this research arm. It's called the Recovery Research Institute that they kind of defer to for information.
Okay.
And so they have like bunch of doctors and like recovery people. So William White, you probably heard the name.
I have.
William White is like a big person when it comes to like metadata studies around outcomes.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of them though, like Dr. Kelly, him. There's like 6 or 7 people that are like the heads of this organization. They're all older, right? They've kind of watched as like the eras of treatment kind of unfolded, right? And so up until 2008, it was cash pay. It was no insurance. It was highly it was almost a secret society to try to like access care on this level, at least, right?
Yeah.
Then
My probation officer sent me.
So that's a whole other side of it, right? There's like the state-funded side of treatment. And so one of the things that I found was interesting was the Recovery Research Institute. They were the first people to come up with the phrase, now what it is exposure to treatment dictates outcomes. Have you heard this? So now the phrase is exposure to treatment dictates outcomes. When it first was coined, it was exposure to length of treatment dictates outcomes. Then the ACA happened and parity, and they normalized the 28-day structure, and so they kind of dropped out the length part of it.
Yeah.
And so there's like, you can look at, they came up with the Addictionary. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
So they came up with it.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like it's on their website. Right. And so you look at like the history of how we ended up here. And ultimately, my whole question about where we're at today is how did we end up here? Because we're completely failing, right? It's like a 98.5% failure rate when it comes to first-time treatment exposure. And then statistics that they've come up with is it takes 1 out of 10 will stay clean for a year. Out of that 10%, 1 out of 10 will stay clean for 10 years, but you have to go to treatment 7 times before that happens.
Oh,
It's astronomical.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. Well, I mean, in my little world that I live in.
You're talking like that it's probably worse than that?
Well, I don't think somebody needs to go to treatment 7 times. I mean,
No, we're talking about like the statistics of outcomes. Today, what they're saying is that the average person needs to go to treatment 7 times before they stay clean for 1 full year.
That's a lot of times.
I mean, I just talked to somebody that went to treatment 64 times. I talked to another person a couple weeks ago, 28 times. I went to treatment 7 times.
I'm 3.
See, so you're like the 50 percentile of that statistic, though.
Yeah.
Right? We're talking about how many people do you know went to treatment over and over and over and over. At Serenity, think about how many times you would see the same person.
I wonder how many times people don't go to treatment and get sober. I wonder what that statistic looks like.
So the Recovery Research Institute has it's like they have theories and then they have like some statistical data around this, but it's hard to report that because if they're not participating in treatment, how do you
know if they're actually getting sober?
Well, not just that, they're not going to report.
Right.
And so what they're saying is, or not them specifically, but some of the research that I've seen is that what they're saying is that if you go to treatment once, there's a high likelihood that you'll end up going 7 times. And if you go to treatment and it doesn't work the first time, then then every time after that, it becomes easier. Your relapse cycle becomes easier and easier and easier.
Yeah, I could see that, but I don't know. That's a hard, because how do you judge? Each person is different, right?
I know that they've standardized metrics for success, right? And it's the insurance agencies have to justify and
why?
So they're looking at fiscal years, right? They're not looking at outcomes for 12 calendars, like 12 calendar months. They're looking at if somebody went to treatment in December and they stayed clean till January, they stayed clean for that fiscal year. If somebody went in,
wow.
if somebody went,
see, I just don't have this brain power.
If somebody goes to treatment in July and they stayed clean till January, they stayed clean for a year.
Yeah.
If somebody goes to treatment in November and they relapse in December,
they didn't.
They went to treatment one time that year, but then they can go to treatment in January, and it's two different years.
Yeah.
Right. And so they've standardized like success rates. They've standardized all of this stuff so that they can justify funding and all this other stuff. But what's really happening is that they're fudging the numbers around success rates.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because the average treatment center, and I'm not saying they do this, but in order to get so in order to sell Harmony Grove, I'm looking to get a valuation on my annual revenue, right? And so in order to get a 5x multiplier on my annual revenue, I need a 5% success rate. So to maximize my valuation, to get a 10x success rate, I only need 13%. Those are like the highly successful treatment centers have a 13% success rate, which is, are you keeping your clients clean for that fiscal year? So you just got
to keep them sober until the fiscal year.
Yeah.
It's basically.
Yeah. And I'm not.
So kind of like heart failure. Like you got to keep them out of the hospital for minimally 30 days or else you don't get reimbursed.
I mean, so that's.
Yes, it's the same.
We're working on the same system. It's the same payers. It's the same. So they're looking at these things going, how are we going to save money? Basically is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, in order to justify the treatment, they have to meet criteria. In order to meet criteria, we have to have a standardized system around success rates. What is the success rate? Fiscal year sobriety. And so there's a lot of things that go into like the statistics that they're coming up with around what we're talking about. And it sounds crazy, but the reality is like I just read another article that the government put out like 3 years ago that said 95% of all people will relapse within the first 90 days of leaving treatment. 95% of people relapse within the first 90 days.
Wow.
And there's a government report.
But I could see it too.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I mean, just in the little recovery, experience that I have, like I go to AA and I'm like, oh, look at all these people that stay sober, and that's my only experience with it. And I'm like, everybody should go to AA. But I can't tell you how many times I see a person, like I do a 12-step call at the hospital,
mm-hmm.
and people that I know, I was like, oh, I know you. You go to Lincoln, wherever,
Yeah.
And so that's 95% of people relapse in the first 90 days.
Have you gone to treatment?
Yeah.
Okay. So
3 times.
Okay, 3 times. So how many times did they tell you that 1 out of 30 will stay clean for a year?
Oh yeah, they did the whole if you turn side to side and like
that's 0.33%.
Yeah.
0.3. That's not 1%. That's not 5%. That's 0.33%.
Yeah.
So when you really extrapolate that out, if that is true, then what they're saying is that it's even worse than we think. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean...
So what are we doing? What is the treatment center? Why are we not able to get to those individuals that are relapsing, especially the ones that go over and over?
Well, we think we know. We think that there's a biological component to relapse that has not been addressed.
That's what I'm really interested. Like that when I heard that that's what Dr. Shah's experiment or study,
the whole study is about.
Yeah, that I was like, oh, that's kind of an, because I was looking at his like protocol of meds when I was over there, and I was like, that's an interest. Like, why are you? And then like he explained like Depakote and why we're doing these things, and I was like, okay. I'm not a neuro person, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with it. Like you.
It's really interesting because you know who Menninger is, right?
Yeah.
So Menninger does targeted TMS.
Yeah.
Right? Have you heard about this whole thing that they're doing?
Yeah, the little clinic thing. Yeah.
So they are doing the exact same thing that we are doing, just with a different protocol. They are literally resetting the amygdala.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And so they're addressing it differently. The thing about TMS that blows my mind, have you seen the efficacy rates of TMS?
No.
Dude, okay, so on average, a person will struggle with anxiety and depression for 13 years before they ever sit at a TMS machine. 50% of all patients who sit at a single TMS session have a 95% success rate.
What is included in that? What is in the TMS?
So transcranial magnetic systems, right?
Yeah. So they go into a tube?
Do you know what it is?
Not exactly.
So you sit on a chair and this giant helmet gets put on your head and it's just magnets. And so they're charging the magnets with different polarities and they're targeting specific pathways in your brain to stimulate like growth and activity. And so ultimately what they're saying, like what TMS, so in order for insurance to pay for a TMS treatment, you have to exhaust all of your medication avenues first. Why are we doing that if we know that it's massively successful?
Yeah.
Right? Like, why are we
putting somebody on like Xanax and Boost Bar and trying all of these things, and then by the end they're...
Why are we... This is, in my head, ultimately what... And this is why I say, like, that the payers set the pace for treatment. The payers set the pace for what we are looking at as far as metrics. And ultimately, my whole question is, are we sacrificing lives to make money? Because if we know that TMS is massively successful, why are you waiting 10 years to let them participate in this treatment that's super successful? You're making them go out there and suffer on medications that don't help. So are we, like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about money.
Yeah, it's all about, I mean, it's an industry, right? And in the nonprofit sector of recovery, they don't even call it an industry. They call it the field of addiction or the field of recovery.
Yeah.
Right.
I've heard that.
And so the fact that the privatized side of, or the for-profit side of treatment calls it an industry, like if you're really thinking about what you're saying, what you're very, very like acutely signaling that we have an industry, right? Industry means something. What does it mean, right? Like when you really start breaking down, like, what are we doing here? And you start thinking about the definitions and the words that they're using, I'm like, oh shit, like we are a machine.
We're not doing what's best for us.
Yeah. No. We're doing what's best for us. We're not doing what's best for the clients.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not shocked. Unfortunately, I mean, when I see all of the things that, like the hospital systems and all of that, like, I mean, it's all a business. Like, if you don't have insurance, guess what? You're going home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or, like, so I was homeless for a long time.
Yeah.
And you get to the point where you're accessing healthcare through an emergency room.
Yeah.
Because they can't turn you away.
Yeah.
Right. And so not only are you waiting until, like, you absolutely need to access it that way, but the fact that people are accessing that way,
And then nobody
Hospitals-
pays the bills. So then it's
Hospitals
a
are
whole
losing money,
circle.
right?
So then the people that do have the insurance, right? Like they're paying because they're charging. There's like a formula that they, to
Factor in all of those losses.
So they have to make sure that we're paying for
Mm-hmm.
the other people that aren't paying their
Right.
bills. But then like for a bag of saline is $300.
So in the treatment industry, there was like the whole yellow gold rush. Do you remember this? Mm-mm. People were charging, like they were getting $1,500 reimbursements for urine tests.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I mean, a bunch of people went to prison over this, right? Because it's Medicaid fraud. But they were doing it, right? And they were like, okay, we have a $700,000 outstanding debt that clients just owe us. How are we going to make this back? And they're like, oh, we can. You're telling me we can charge? Okay, well, we're going to start testing all the clients every day.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it's shocking. Like it's really sad. It's what's even sadder is like it's the people that are getting addicted because of like such simple things like the whole, OxyContin, Purdue, Sackler family. Like
I was a product of all of that.
Yeah. Oh goodness. The little pill. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and then they're just sitting there living their beautiful life, and they're literally the reason why.
Yeah.
This whole country, like.
Well, I mean, America loves their drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a market for it. And unfortunately, it's gotten to the point where, everybody is either 1 or 2 degrees away from separation away from an active addict today. So that's either a family member or a friend. Everybody knows somebody.
Oh yeah. I mean, my family, like, it was me. Like my dad drank, but like he could stop. But like me, I went on a whole different level. I'm the first to go to jail. First.
What'd you go to jail for?
I had 2 DWIs.
And then you became a nurse practitioner after. That is so interesting.
Yeah. I did, so I was a pharmacy technician. I always like laughed because I was like, I'm a legal drug dealer. And so then I did that. And then I worked in a pharmacy for, God bless, like 13 years, like various ones. And then my addiction kind of, they asked me to leave very nicely.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever take meds?
Do I take meds?
No. Did you ever take them from the pharmacy? Okay.
I actually never did, shockingly. Okay. I would give, like, some of the patients that I knew, like, extra Viagra, but, like, I would never give, like, extra anything else. It's weird.
They need that Viagra.
As long as you're not on sneeze isosorbate, I was good. Like, here you go, old man. It wasn't for me. It was for him and his wife.
That's the kind-hearted pharmacist right there.
That was about all I didn't do very much. I mean, now, don't get me wrong. I did things to myself. Like, I would snort, like, crystal meth when I worked at the pharmacy. Yeah. I was a big cocaine addict for a long time.
Okay, so let's go over all that. Tell me, like, start with your childhood.
Okay.
Go into, so I'll structure it like this. Childhood, because...
My experience strengthened.
So you're Indian, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brown. Yeah.
So childhood, because your guys' culture is really interesting to me, to say that. Are you from India?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are your parents from India?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for sure. So childhood experience, what was all that like? What was middle school and high school like? And then where did your addiction start? And we'll figure it out from there.
Okay. All right. So childhood, I was born and raised in Alief. So I graduated from Elsick High School.
Okay.
I was, my parents, I'm the first American born in my whole family.
Wow.
So there was a lot of, did you do the right thing moving and, all of that pressure to the family, to my parents. So my dad moved here initially, and then went back to India and then got married to my mom. And then 3 months later, like, they were living here. Like, that was it. Like, he raised his hand on a bus and my mom married him. Like, it was already set. It was bizarre.
Okay, explain that.
So my mom lived in the city called Vizag. My dad lived in a city called Kakinada. So somehow, they knew of each other, like, family-wise. So...
was this arranged?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So so my dad...
Did she get a dowry?
No.
Okay.
They did. My grandfather was a doctor, so he gave my mom, like, some gold just in case, but, like, he never gave it to my dad. But, like... My dad lived in America. Like, that's where everybody wanted to go. He was a PhD, so all of the...
Checked all the boxes.
Yeah, and then, like, he came from a good family. Like, there was no drama until I was born.
So were you from the part of India that had caste systems?
The whole country has caste systems. So.
Okay. I know there's, like, it's more pronounced and extreme in other places, right, than others?
Yes. So my parents were the same caste. So there was no such thing. We had a few outlier family members that, like, married out of their caste, but it was close enough.
They can marry up, though, right? They can't marry down or something like
that. They can't marry either way. Like, mostly, I mean, if you're gonna go, you need to go up. Yeah, basically.
Which is funny.
The girl has to go up. Like, if the guy can't go up, then, like, that just, like, the girl, like, that's, like, shunned.
Yeah.
They're like,
well, I mean, just by nature of what we're talking about, somebody's gonna marry down.
Absolutely. So. Like, yeah. So, but they did not. My mom was the perfect daughter.
Really?
Like, even at 51 years old, if my grandfather said you're not allowed to cross the street,
she won't cross the
street. Like, okay. I was like, but you know the language. We're just going to get, like, mangoes. You have 3 children in a different country.
Wow.
And she's like, but that's what my dad said. And I said, okay, well, I'm not like this. kind of a thing. No, I was good. So we grew up in Alief. And then it's me. I have a little sister and a little brother. My brother is 10 years younger. My sister is 3 years younger than me. So... we grew up very Indian. So I did Indian classical dance.
Did they still live in Alief?
No, we moved to Sugar Land when we found a dead body.
Yeah.
That was the, Clayton Oaks, like, was literally walking distance to West Oaks Mall. Like, it was like a mile down. And then my brother found a dead body. And then my dad had a gun pointed to his head because he stepped in some neighbor's lawn.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And so we were like, and then my brother was young, and very influenced by other people. So we were like, so of course, what did we do? We went to Sugar Land. So my brother graduated from Austin. So they're still in the same house for the last 25 years.
Can your mom cook?
Yes.
Oh, I love Indian food.
Yes. She cooks we're South Indian. So
is that like the spicy side of it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's lost her taste buds. So, like, now it's on a whole different level of spicy. No. And I'm like, we can smell spice.
Your eyes are, like, watering when you get out of the car.
And I can handle my spice, but I was like, I don't know what you're doing, lady, but she's a little crazy, my mom. So is my dad. They're very interesting. They're like... Have you ever seen the show Everybody Loves Raymond?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Those are my parents. Like, minus the being Italian.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I went to, whatever, and we did all of the Indian things, temple, I did dance. I didn't ever, I wasn't allowed to date or have guy friends, but it was weird, as long as I was we were studying, they didn't, that was, and I was like, you realize, but I didn't do anything, I didn't kiss a boy until I was a senior in high school. I was so deathly scared of my parents.
Yeah. Yeah,
because my cousin, she got married to a Hispanic guy.
Oh no.
It was
a big deal, huh?
Huge.
Family scandal.
My dad was asked to walk her down the aisle, and he was like, no.
No.
Because their father passed away when they were, kind of little. So, but yeah, it was, but it was the best wedding I have ever been to.
Dude, you guys have like, I think an Indian guy has like the record for not only the longest, but the most expensive wedding ever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it was like 7 months.
Yeah, what's the rich guys in India?
The prince something.
Yeah, whatever. They own the whole Reliant, the electricity company, the whole thing in India.
Yeah, he was
ridiculous.
He was getting Lamborghinis like by the daily, and he was giving away APs like as wedding gifts.
Yeah,
He was giving like $250,000 watches away to his friends.
Crazy.
Isn't that?
Yeah, like
7-month-long wedding.
Yeah, my husband is a very white boy from Florida.
Oh, you married outside too?
Oh, I did. I'm the biggest rebellion in my whole family. Yeah, like it was an interesting. They tried to do the whole arranged marriage with me.
Here?
Yeah. Well, so right now, like the way that the marriages are going, it's not really as arranged. It's more like blind dates. So like, they call them biodatas, and it's a horrible name. So it's like basically it's your resume. Like, where did you...
Biodatas?
Biodatas, that's what it's called. And,
wow.
Yeah, so now there's apps and like there's like Shaadi.com. And
what?
Yeah, so like it's like dating apps. There's a show on Netflix. It's hilarious.
Hold on. What's it called?
The show on Netflix is called Indian Matchmaker.
Yeah. Dude, you guys are so funny to me.
It's so ridiculous. That one's a little over the top, but, we do have those. So, like, they tried. They really did. Like, I met a Harvard guy. I met, like, this other guy. I was like, oh, nice. He's got a nice little Beamer M5. Like, but then they met my family, and they were like...
Hell no.
Yeah. The Harvard guy one was so funny because, like, my uncle, he was one of my families are, like, complete opposite. Like, my dad's side and my mom's side. My dad's side is, like, freedom fighters. They were, like, Gandhi.
Activists.
Right. Like, my uncle, like, was in jail with Gandhi. Like, it was, and... I mean, he was like one of the county judges, like, the judge court. Like, he was like, all about Indian independence. And then you got my mom's side, who was straight up British. Like, my grandfather.
Oh, wow. They got the accent and everything?
My grandfather was like, oh, my God, America is the greatest. We love Britain. And, like, he became a dermatologist. And his father was a police officer and all of this stuff. And so he was very strict. He had the 5 kids. And he had a love marriage.
Wow.
I know. My
Lucky.
Grandfather, he got married to my grandmother. He was like, I was sitting there, and he was so funny. He was like, I was sitting there in a corner at some Indian party and reading my medical book, and I put my book down, and I gave a furtive look, and I saw your grandmother. And she was like 15, 16 years old, something like that.
How old is he?
I think he was 20, 25, 21, something like that. And he was taking care of all of his brothers. His parents died. And then he was and so they weren't allowed to date, right? So, like, my grandmother's older brother, they would go to movies. And then, like, my grandmother's brother never, like, let her be alone with him. But then finally, like, after, like, 5 months or something, they got married. And like, I was like, wow. And then furtive look. And so every time I hear that word, I'm like, oh, may you rest in peace. Like, I love you, dude. Like, he's so funny. JFK was like big. Like,
oh, yeah.
I think the whole country like cried.
Oh, yeah.
And so when my dad was living in America, it was like, oh, yeah, I have to send my daughter to America. And then the 2 boys, he had 2 boys, my uncles, they became doctors. Like, everybody's a doctor.
So did they all, like, take that test?
The USMLE, yeah.
USMLE, that's what it's called. What does it stand for?
I don't know, United States Medical Licensing Exam?
No.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. I don't think that's right, though.
It might be, but I'm talking about, like, in high school, in India, you, like, get this test. And it, like, basically tells you what you're allowed to do.
Oh, yeah. They did number 1 and everything. Like, there is no such thing as number 2.
So they could, like, do whatever they wanted.
Yeah. Apparently, my mom has a degree in psychology. And I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Like, where is that from?
Yeah.
And so like they kind of met. My parents met ish. Like, so my mom went to college with my dad's youngest sister.
Okay.
So then that's kind of how the whole like arranged marriage kind of happened. So somebody that knows somebody, but yeah.
And that's like a thing over there, right? Dowries?
Yeah, it used to be. It's not as prevalent as it was back in the day. But
And they did cows, right?
I don't know. We always did gold.
Did you ever see The King and I?
Yes.
Okay, that was like when I was like a little kid.
With Julie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't quite like that.
Yeah,
Actually, like in India, it's kind of weird. Like you're not allowed to know if you're going to have a boy or girl.
Really?
Like when you're
Why?
Because they would kill the girls.
Oh.
Like as soon as the baby was born, and if it was a girl, like they would kill the girl.
Why?
Because then they have to pay the dowry.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so it's still like that in villages. So what was funny is like
But they'll still kill the girl?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because they can use the little boy to work in the fields and you know, panhandle and do.
Did that ever cause like a disruption in like the ratios?
I'm sure. I don't know what the statistics on that.
Well, it's like the most populous country.
Yeah, it's like literally over 1 billion people.
Yeah.
Like less than the state of Texas. Like
no way.
Yeah, it's small.
Really?
Yeah, India by train is. We took the train. The train's really pretty there.
Wait, it's the Orient Express, right?
No,
that's not that one.
No,
there's like a really famous train in
I think
India.
it might be. It's probably one of the rivers named. Like there's the Godavari River or something like that. That I remember taking.
Wait. Is Punjab on that line? I'm pretty sure it's the Orient Express.
I don't know.
I could be very wrong though.
Orient Express sounds like China or something.
I know it sounds like it, but
no, we got to chat.
I think it goes like up through the mountains.
Possibly. There might be one like going through the Himalayas or something like that. Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask ChatGPT.
I know. I was like, ChatGPT it.
Okay, keep going.
Anyways, yeah, I go squirrel off. I'm so ADD.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so graduated high school. And then I had a choice to be like everybody else at ELSA, go to UT, or I got a scholarship to go to William and Mary in Virginia, which is...
The Concan Railway. And it's called the Rajdhani Express.
R-A-D?
R-A-J-D. Raj.
Okay.
Rajdhani.
Oh, Rajdhani Express. Yeah, so that's up north. Oh, that would be pretty. The Himalayan Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not down there. Not down in the south. It's hot.
Oh, yeah, it's like super humid there, right?
It's so gross. And the bugs are like... I still have mosquito bites from when I was little.
You still have them? Mm-hmm. How often do you go back?
I haven't gone back since my grandmother passed away. So that was like 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So these trains, they're like the ones that you'd see like where they like...
On Mission Impossible?
No, you would picture like them having like a ballroom in it.
Yeah.
You know, like...
I want to do the Canada one. That's the bucket list.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's another one. Which one is it? I think it's actually it's an Amtrak train line.
Mm-hmm.
And it like takes you across the top of the United States.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's called.
I don't know. Anyways.
But yeah, there's like, it's interesting because like nobody really takes trains for those kinds of people still do. They do, but it's like not really a heard of thing anymore. Whereas like in the 1800s, 1700s, that was like the thing to do.
Yeah, so like when we would go to India, like now everybody just flies everywhere. But I was like, I loved because you had an AC cart and then you had a non-AC cart on the train. So the poor people basically were in the non-AC.
Yeah.
But I love the non-AC, but I did not like the toilets because you literally were pooping on the train track.
Yeah.
Like there's no like flushing system.
Yeah.
You can see the
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, that's scary. Or they had the little, the plain whole. So they'd be like, oh, you have the American one or you have the whole one.
It's crazy.
I know. But then the AC one was so cold. You're like, okay. And then like they would get so mad if you like opened the door.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I just need some warmth. It's really cold.
How old were you when you first started like traveling that way?
Oh, well, you were, I think the first time I went, I don't remember. I was like 3 or 4 months old. My mom just like let me go with my dad. And then my grandfather was so mad and he just took me and kidnapped me for like 3 months until my dad brought me back home.
That's funny.
Basically. Yeah.
Okay, so what was like junior high and high school like? Because you went here.
Yeah,
right?
so I went to Albright Middle School. Albright, all white. It was weird because, like, being Indian was weird.
Isn't there like a big Indian population there, though?
Not when I went.
Oh no,
there.
that's Asian. There's like a lot of Asians in Sugar Land, right?
Well, I went to A-Leaf, so I was, and I didn't.
So you made that drive every day?
No. We went to Sugar Land like after I graduated high school.
Oh.
Like my brother was in 7th grade, so like I think we went in like 2001, 2002 over there when Sugar Land was being built. I went to Albright, and then it was. I was the Indian girl. Like there was a few of us, and then there were some Asian people. We were all in the honors classes, and like there was no other. We weren't allowed to be in regular classes.
Yeah, for sure.
Same thing when I went to LSIC, like we was like 50 of us that were just rotated in the same classes, and everybody had crushes on each other. And I think my first boyfriend, his name was Neeraj, but like. We never kissed or anything. Like we would talk on the AIM. Yes. And so
how old are you?
So I started school. I'm 43 now. I'll be 43 next week. But I started school when I started kindergarten when I was 3. So by the time I graduated high school, I was 16. You did that math really well. Yeah.
There was an Indian girl that went to like not our high school, but the one.
What high school did you go to?
I grew up in San Diego, California, and but she was like this punk rock girl, and like her, she ended up like getting kicked out because of her style, and like her parents kicked her out, and then she ended up living like with their best friend, and it was like this whole thing. Yeah. She had pet rats. She like in high school, like a bunch of my friends at least, we were all like tattooed in high school. And she had this giant rat tattoo like on her arm. And I don't remember her name, but I'm sure my brother does.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. But yeah, so it was whatever. High school was just high school. Like I didn't do anything bad. Okay. My first technical boyfriend my first kiss was with the Vietnamese guy. I'm
Vietnamese.
Yeah. Oh. His name was Huy. He's a lawyer now. Sorry, Huy, if you're watching. So we went out for a month until he cheated or something happened and whatever. So
high school.
I know. I laugh because my stepson, he's in high school, so he tells me like some of the trauma, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna miss this one day.
Yeah, or not.
Or not. Yeah.
I haven't gone to a single reunion.
Neither have I.
It's fun. Dr. Shaw and I were talking about he like went to his 30-year reunion recently.
Oh wow!
Like within the last couple of years, and I was telling him like I'll never go to a reunion because where I graduated from juvenile court correctional school.
So you were a troublemaker from the beginning.
There was 7 of us that graduated, and I think 4 of them went straight to prison.
I know. I was thinking, like, whenever I said, I'm like, man, by the time I was 31 and I sobered up, it was like my biggest accomplishment was graduating rehab 3 times, like, and high school. Like, that was it. Like, I had nothing I was so messed up.
That's crazy. So you got okay. Let's get there. Where did you like really start fucking up?
So I went to William and Mary, and then I really started liking to drink because like I went there basically like because I didn't have parents.
Is that the girls?
No, it was a boy and girl.
Okay.
Yeah. So William and Mary was like where Thomas Jefferson went to school and
What?
Yeah, like back. So they have a Colonial Williamsburg where you can like go out and then like
What state is this in?
Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. So it was just like itty bitty town. They had one Indian restaurant, and then they didn't even have a movie theater, like a nice movie theater. Like you had to drive 40 minutes.
Wow.
It's a Newport. They didn't have an airport. There's like no airport. Like, so. But we had a really good time there.
Yeah, there's like nothing to do.
There was nothing to do, so we just we studied hard and we partied hard, and it was like I drank on the weekends, and like I didn't know how to drink because I like my first time getting drunk was I think New Year's in high school, and that was not a very pleasant experience. But I loved to drink.
Yeah,
like I was like, okay, let's just not drink that much and be all emotional, and you know. It was like ridiculous. Like one of our friends ended up on Memorial Street, like just walking, and it was raining, and it was so emotional. Like everybody was cheating on everybody. Like everybody had feelings for everybody, and I was like, oh my god. And we were at some motel on Highway 6. It was hilarious, and I was like, oh my god. But I was like, and then we mixed way too much alcohol, and then we just everybody threw up everywhere by the end of the night.
Was this like everybody's first time drinking?
Basically.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, we never drank like as we had a little group of us, right? That we hung out, but we never drank. We just played video games, and they played what is that? StarCraft. We're just a bunch of nerds. I liked what is the
Atari, Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo.
Yeah, like NES.
Bomberman. We loved some Bomberman. That was like the excitement that we did. And
That's
then ate.
So funny.
And then ate or drank all the Star Snow Ice and like the boba and stuff before it became like all sorts of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, why is it $7 for boba?
Dude, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I had a friend in high school. His name was Kevin Wu. And his parents owned a boba shop. It was like the first one that I had ever seen.
Oh, and they probably did so good.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, so across the street from their shop was a high school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Done.
Winner.
Yeah.
winner.
And so we played water polo together. And so like the whole team would like go over there and just like hang out.
Oh, yeah.
And we went to a different school than the school that was across the street. And so it was like the spot that everybody would meet to fight.
No, yeah. Ours was there was a Vietnamese pool hall. We would walk to is $4 an hour for pool, but like that's where we would all everybody would start like ganging up on each other, and I was like, what are we like? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then you had the cool cars and everybody like had to outdo. We're like 16, 17 years old. Like we shouldn't be. Now I'm like, we're not supposed to be driving like this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, like Westheimer, we used to like go there and yeah, it was crazy. But I mean, I never drank. Like it was not a thing that we did. I smoked, one time I smoked some pot, but that was.
Ever?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah. You get into snorting meth at work.
Yeah. So I did smoke some pot at one point in my life. Yeah. So then we went, and then I went to William and Mary, and then I ended up getting kicked out, not because I was drinking, but because I didn't have very good grades and was on probation, and
How'd you end up on probation? DUIs?
No. I was on like academic probation.
Oh.
But I
forget that's a thing.
Yeah, I should have known that I probably had a problem with drinking. Normal people would have stopped drinking, but I did not. So like we had a party and I didn't eat, and we was just done with finals and everything. And so like I had done, I don't even know how many shots. Like we were at some frat party. And I really don't remember the whole night. I just remember waking up in a hospital.
You know how you just said like normal people would have stopped?
Yeah.
I don't think that's true.
Oh, when you think they're almost raped? Yeah.
Yeah, that part maybe.
Yeah, like I was still like a virgin, and I don't remember anything, but apparently I started making out with some guy named Billy Nipper. Sexy. And he was like 45 years old. I'm 16, barely 17. I know I'm not 18 because they call my parents.
Oh my gosh.
And apparently this guy just got out of jail for sexual assault. And he was just roaming around the campus. And thank God my RA found me just walking to my dorm room. And so she got me there, and she called the paramedics after a security picked this Billy. He was following me, apparently.
Why do you remember his name?
Because that's what they told me. And I was like, what kind of name is that?
Billy Nipper.
Like, why would you name your kid?
Dude, that is like a straight up predator name.
Exactly.
Billy Nipper.
And then when they're like, do you know who this Billy... Like, I said it like 16 times to me. And then they were like, well, we need to call your parents because you're underage. And I was like, this is before cell phones or anything. So I just kept giving like fake numbers. So I was like, it's 281-493-9123. Like, I just make them. They're like, that's not the number. Give us the number. I'm like, I don't want to.
Did you get in trouble with your parents?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were, I mean, I was so sheltered that like my first haircut was my senior year of high school. So my hair was like
that's
daddy
so
hair.
Cool though.
No, not when you're like trying to be cute. And I was not allowed to wear jeans. I was only allowed to wear skirts and dresses.
I think guys like that more than you guys think.
Yeah, well, none of the guys I liked to be back. So I was like with the big glasses. Like,
oh my god.
Oh yeah, and awkward, and that's why I like drinking because like I just.
Then you weren't awkward.
I didn't feel as awkward. Even though I probably was awkward. But I didn't think I was awkward. So
that's all that matters.
That's all that matters is what I thought. So, yeah. Then, yeah, I was like, I'm not going to ever drink. And I did that whole thing. And then I ended up getting kicked out of William & Mary for grades. But I was like, the truth was that, like, I did not study as hard as everybody else. I just drank.
Yeah. Yeah. You got an A in drinking.
Yes.
You got absolutely. An F in school.
Mm-hmm. And I was supposed to be a doctor, like that, because being Indian, like you only have 3 professions. Doctors. Now it's 4, but it's doctors, engineers, lawyer.
Yeah.
Now it's IT. You can add the IT or computer science or whatever. So.
Which is such a BS. Computer science is so funny.
I know. My husband is a computer science.
That's so funny.
It's not like you're white. You're not supposed to have a computer science major.
It's like, because there are like real like computer engineers, and then there's people who qualify as like computer scientists, and it's like, dude, you don't actually do anything.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah.
It's funny.
I know. It's like, I can't believe I married a white computer engineer. Or I don't even know what he does.
How long ago did you get married?
I just realized that we're going to be married 5 years in May.
5 years. This is your first husband?
Yes.
Okay.
We met in AA.
Okay.
We are the AA couple.
Anomaly?
Yeah. We did. Yeah. We sobered up together.
Oh.
We grew up together, basically.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the program. So, he's got 13. He just celebrated 13 years, and I celebrated. I'm going to hopefully, get 11 years, God willing. But, yeah, so he saw me. He, came and visited. We were friends. That's it. We were platonically friends for, I don't even know, 9 years. I moved, became a nurse, and did all of this. And then one day he was like, oh, if I sell this, I'm going to make $13 million. I was like, well, if you make $13 million, I'm just going to quit my job and just marry you. And then he was like, well, if you just moved to Houston, I would marry you. And I was like, wait, what? What are you talking about?
Where were you living?
College Station.
Oh.
Yeah. Not that it was some far away place. So I was like, oh. And I was like, wait, are you serious? And he was like, yeah. You didn't realize that? And I was like, No.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of social acumen there, huh?
No. Because I was like, we've never, like, I had a crush on him at one point, and then...
I'm going to tell you something, and this is probably controversial, but men are not geared to have girls as friends.
I totally agree.
Yeah, it's not, if you have a guy that's a friend... You have a guy that's a potential suitor. Yeah. That's really what it is.
Exactly. But like he was trying to do, I'm his fourth wife.
So
his longest relationship. And I'm the only one that he's been in a relationship sober.
Oh, so yeah.
So like it was kind of like this, we just slowly, because we were nervous. Like it's nerve-wracking when you're sober,
sure.
Doing things and you're like.
There's have you seen that statistic that says if you get divorced twice, you are statistically likely to get married 5 times?
No, you have a lot of statistics in your brain.
Yeah. I mean, I talk about this shit a lot, I guess. But yeah, if you get divorced twice, you are statistically likely to get married 5 times.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he doesn't get married a 5th time, so.
Yeah, I mean... sobriety is like a pretty good safeguard for a lot of like not doing the same shit over.
Yeah. Not making the same mistakes over and over, doing the same shit.
Did he do the this is a joke. This is a joke, guys. Okay. My first wife was Mexican.
Okay.
My wife now is white, and I always tell her, if we get a divorce, I'm going to marry a black chick.
So this is the funny part. So the first 2 marriages that he had, he barely remembers because he was extremely drunk. And I think maybe they lasted, he doesn't even know, less than a year. And they were 2 white women. So then he ended up moving to Houston for a job. And then he met his 3rd ex-wife, and she was Vietnamese.
Oh, no.
And then they hooked up and then got pregnant, and then he did the right thing, supposedly, and then married her.
That's such a funny term, he did the right thing.
Yeah.
It's probably like the fucking worst thing that he could have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they were so then, of course she had the baby, he's still drinking, like he was like, oh, well, if I'm my dad, like I'm gonna, blah, blah,
Yeah. Oh, I'll get sober now.
Yeah, that didn't work out. He ended up getting a 3rd DWI. So then they got divorced, and then after he got divorced, and he called her from jail, and she was like, "No, I don't think I'm gonna pick you up. Maybe I'll get you later. Like I gotta go, do something else, something." And he was like, "Wait, what? Like I'm Richard. Like you're supposed to come. I'm your husband."
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like, "Oh shit, I don't have anybody in my life that's gonna bail me out."
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. And then he ended up going to AA, and I mean, he was very angry when I met him.
That happens.
Yeah, like
that happens.
A whole different level.
Well, so yeah,
let's go back because that's a whole interesting.
Yeah. Okay, I won't even say what I was going to say.
Oh, go ahead.
No. I mean, okay, I'm going to say it anyway.
Yeah. Nice.
First of all, like, did he have money when he got divorced?
Yes.
He didn't after?
No.
Okay. So that's a really good reason to be mad.
Yeah.
And then alcohol just makes people fucking angry.
Yeah. So we were going to say controversy.
Oh, yeah. Wait. I said it already. That men are not.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean.
I don't think that's controversial. I think that's very true.
No, I know it's true, but still controversial because what I think a lot of people say that, like, based on that statement, you're saying that either men have bad intentions or girls can't have guy friends.
I think I've always had guy friends.
Of course, you're a girl.
Girl, right. But I, like, even, like, now, like, all of my guy friends, like, most of them are married.
Yeah, and you guys are. It's the couples are friends.
Yeah, and it's a different. But like, I don't know. Like,
look, any guy friend that is there for you when you're going through shit.
Yeah,
really, it's.
Yeah,
they don't
like
care.
I don't. Yeah, like my guy friend is turned into be my husband that I went to.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I guess that makes sense.
And how many of your guy friends, like growing up, would it be like, would have definitely hooked up with you? All of them. All of them.
No, they always liked my Asian friends.
Mm-hmm. But if you said, hey.
They would talk to me because they wanted to get to know the other girl. That's usually, that was high school.
Yeah. So what happens is they want to get at the Asian girl, but if that doesn't work out, there's this girl.
Yeah. I mean, I was always second, so that was also an issue. So
yeah.
So I did but growing up, like being Indian, like we had to show face, basically, right? Like you had to everything had to look good on the outside. Like I was a lot bigger, like weight wise, and so, like my mom one time, she said she has 2 daughters, and she looks at I call her my arch enemy, but she looked at her and she was like, God, I wish I had a daughter like her, and I'm like. Really?
What is that? Is that India where they have that slapping sport? It's like called Kabut or something?
Oh, Kabul, yeah.
It is, right?
Yeah.
That's Indian, right?
Yeah.
Dude, you guys have the crazy, and cricket's like a big thing, right?
Huge.
Yeah. Very interesting to me.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm so whitewashed, in a hole.
I mean, I've watched hours of the sport. I can't figure it out, and it's all in Indian. They can't and it's like they jump around and slap each other, and
yeah, you're trying to dodge the slaps or something.
Yeah, but how do they score points?
That part I don't know.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, cricket I kind of understand, but not really.
Cricket's like a very close cousin to baseball, so I kind of get it.
Yeah, you're trying to get the ball home run. And,
yeah. Yeah, they throw the ball to you. You hit the ball as far as you can.
Yeah, and then you
run.
and then you have the 3 wickets. So it's 3 strikes kind of a thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't need to know Indian to get what's going on there, but the slap thing. There's this guy. Okay, there's this one guy.
Yeah,
he's in all the videos, and he's just so good at this shit. And he's throwing people and I was explaining to Dr. Shah the other day. Do you remember old carnival footage or cartoons where it was always he was talking about how Indian guys are just historically tall and skinny, right? And I was actually the freak carnival shows, it would be their strongman was always an Indian guy.
Yeah, they're the tall giant.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very big villain in the Indian movies. He's passed away now, but he had the mustache and the eyeballs when he would get mad it would turn it was somebody punched him red and I was oh my god, he was in Indiana Jones.
Oh
yes,
he was famous in India.
Yeah,
because I know that India has the Bollywood thing, right, and dude, that's
a whole different
other thing. But I mean it makes sense because it is the most populous region.
It's ridiculous.
And there's a lot of money. There's a lot of wealth. I don't know if a lot of wealthy people are there, but
you're either very rich or you're very poor.
Yeah.
That's so my family is very well off. Not 7-month weddings and Lamborghinis everywhere, but
that dude got gifted 100 Lamborghinis or something
ridiculous. It's just what
are you gonna do with it?
What is the purpose of that? I don't know. I think it pisses me off because it's all of the money that they spent on that wedding could have fed the entire country times 7. You know what I'm saying?
I saw the end figure of what it cost. I don't remember what it was, but it was astronomical.
It's ridiculous. It was I don't even know how much that looks like.
Let's look. What was his name?
The girl's name is Radhika Merchant.
Oh, yeah, I can spell that.
Radhika. What is the kid's name?
He's that. Plus, he's a fat.
Yeah, Anant.
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 $600 million.
That's what I'm saying. You could feed the whole fucking world.
$600 million. That is so
And I don't
crazy.
even think that's the real number. Like, I think it's probably more.
Probably.
Like that's sad that's a deduction.
Oh, look at this. Low end estimates are 600 million.
Yeah, there we go.
The openly talked about number is 1 billion.
I believe it.
1 billion, and so it was probably a lot more. And look at all the celebrities that went. It was Justin Bieber, Rihanna, Katy Perry,
Bob Gates. What's his name?
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
Oh yeah. A bunch of politicians.
Yeah.
The Rock was there. Like a bunch of wrestlers were there.
Yeah.
A wrestler gave him a Lamborghini.
Like, I don't even understand what that like.
And then
like Shah Rukh Khan like gifted him like a whole apartment in France or something, and I'm like, he can buy it. Like, what do you give like the most wealthiest kid?
It's funny because like I was by far was like not a rock star, but I knew I still have friends. I have a friend right now that's on tour in Europe, right? I have like other friends that are part of like pretty big bands, right? And it was always so crazy to me how like they didn't ever have to pay for drugs. They just got like they're
gifted drugs.
Yeah.
And then here we are, we got a panhandle.
Actually, those guys, they didn't do drugs. But I had like the other friends that were still like really well known, like regionally and like across the US and stuff. They always got like free drugs. And then I had to like always pay for it. It made me mad.
I know. I had to go to the,
So how'd you get into drugs? That's probably
so like any other stupid thing, like I had a crush on a boy.
Oh.
Yeah. So
was he Indian?
No.
Yep, that's where you went wrong.
Yeah.
It wasn't the drugs, it was dating outside of the culture.
So I met this guy named Ryan.
Oh man. My best friend, his name was Ryan Maher. And he just died a couple of years ago from a fentanyl overdose. It's always the Ryans.
Yeah. So we worked at Foley's together. If you remember Foley's.
I don't know. I'm not from here.
It's used now Macy's.
Oh.
So Macy's bought out all of the Foley's a long time ago. But I don't know if Foley's was just in Houston or not.
Yeah, I never heard of Foley's. We had like J.C. Penney's, and I think that
it's like that, like a little bit higher than J.C. Penney.
Okay, department store.
Mervyn's.
Yeah. Oh, I remember Mervyn's.
That was our store.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I worked, like, that was my first job. So I worked as a float pool, and then like I met him, and I was like, oh.
What is a float pool?
Where you just like go in different departments.
Oh,
like in the store. So
literally, like your floater.
Yeah. So then me and him started on the same day.
Doing drugs? Oh.
No. He was already a drug addict. And then he worked in the women's shoes. And so I, was like, well, I just only want to work women's shoes. And so then we got to talking. And then I started smoking cigarettes because he was smoking cigarettes. And then we started hanging out. And then we were drinking a lot. And then one New Year's, he was like, do you want to do some cocaine? I was like, yeah, I'm not going to get addicted to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we ended up selling cocaine together.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We sold cocaine. We went to like all of like the strip clubs. So I would like go.
Oh, fun.
I know.
I've never been to a strip club.
What?
I've never been to a strip club. I discovered prostitutes like really young.
So why the fuck go to a strip club?
Yeah, waste of time and money.
You just went straight to the chase.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. Yeah. I didn't go that far, but.
I mean, you wouldn't have to.
Yeah. So it was like this little crew of us that worked at Foley's during the day and then sold drugs at night. It was really weird.
That's funny.
So it was me, this black guy named Mark, and then he was white, like white Ryan.
Like Wonder Bread White? Was he a wigger?
Yeah. Like, I was like, oh my God. And then I still have this, picture somewhere.
Oh, I want to see it.
I'll have to text it to you. It's at my parents' house or my house or whatever it's called. Yeah, I'm living with my parents, so that's always.
That's fun. Great food. Probably great food. Does she ever make tiki masala?
No, we're vegetarian. Well, she's vegetarian. I'm not, but
Yeah.
I mean, I rebelled the whole.
I think that it's like there's like this thing. I've never met an Indian who then ended up an addict and stayed a vegetarian. It's almost like that shit goes out the window.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's not even important anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to eat a chicken sandwich from McDonald's, like $1.36. Can I add cheese? Like that's where I was
For sure.
in my life. Like, can I afford the McDonald's spicy chicken sandwich? Oh, I have 37 cents. Oh, I can. It was $1.37.
I remember that. The double cheeseburger was $1.37.
Yeah, so it was on the dollar menu. I like the chicken, and then I was like, don't put that much mayonnaise on it. And then I was like, I need
They
cheese.
flood those. I just had one yesterday.
Yeah, so it's really hard for me to eat one of those because it just brings me back to like my homeless days.
So you know what? My wife, we're having a kid tomorrow.
Yeah.
We were homeless together.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know what we lived off of? We would get a pint of Ben and Jerry's in the morning and an apple pie, and then we would just eat that all day.
Oh.
We would eat the ice cream in the morning and then the pie all day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't home. I guess I don't know. I lived in hotels.
Oh,
like,
no.
a lot
We
of
were
it.
like living under a bridge.
No, yeah. Luckily, we didn't get that far, but yeah.
Yeah, but so our thing was.
I don't know. Maybe that would have been better. I don't know.
No, not here. Texas is. I could never do it here. Like drugs were basically legal in San Diego. Like you couldn't get arrested for personal use. You know, like they might take it and ticket you, but most of the time they just took it. If you got caught with it, but we got kicked out like 14 apartments and houses in like 2 years.
Yeah.
And she was just so sick of it. I always got us kicked out.
How long have you and your girl been together?
It'll be 9 years in May.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And so yeah, it's crazy. But we had a discussion. We were like, we already hung out solely, exclusively with homeless people. Like that was like our friend group was homeless people, and we were always down there. And it turned into this like we would have an apartment and we would like be out downtown for like a couple days, and then we'd go home and shower and sleep. And then we would like get kicked out, and we'd find another place, and it was like on average $2,000. There was like a couple places it was like $2,400 a month. And I was finally like I just keep getting us kicked out. We keep losing deposits. Like it's because there was one house, like every inch of every wall was covered in graffiti. Nice. There was like a whole missing part of the wall because she locked herself in the room, and I like kicked the wall down to like get in. Yeah, there like windows would be gone, front door didn't lock anymore. Like it was just a mess. And so finally it was like, why are we even doing this? Like, why do we keep trying to do this? And she was like, because I need to shower. You know, so it was like, okay, how about we be homeless and we can go like stay at hotels. No, we could stay at hotels like a couple times a week. Yeah. Because we weren't sleeping anyway. Like we were just out there running amok. And so she was like, okay. And then like within a month, there was no more hotels. Like we were just full-time homeless. Yeah. But it was like very, very, it's like a whole world unto itself, you know? Yeah. And she says it even, like, she talks about it now where it's like the level of freedom. People don't understand, like, the level of freedom that comes with being a homeless drug addict. There is no connection to society. There's no responsibilities. The only thing that you have to worry about is, like, which if you have, like, if you're selling drugs or, like, if you have a hustle, there is no worry about it. And so it's just, like.
So how did you make money?
All kinds of different ways. Like, mostly, like, we were a cog in the wheel of like a drug, like selling drugs, like ultimately like bringing it. We were from San Diego, so like Mexico's right there. So we'd like bring drugs across. We were like working dudes for money, and like she would like, I don't know how she did it, but she would always get these like doctors and dentists that would just like give her money, right? And ultimately like it started off a certain way like originally, and then it was like, when I got involved, we were just like, the first day I met this one dude, he like gave me $7,500. And it was like just this whole, like we started learning how to like work people together, and it just turned into a fucking mess.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I would have had. Yeah, I mean, he could have done it. Anyways, yeah, that's crazy.
But she was saying it the other day. She was like, just like the level of freedom that comes with having absolutely no.
Yeah.
People try to capture that. They try to go on like these month-long camping trips and like, but you still have responsibilities and you still have like things that are over your head. And so, it's like we don't miss the drugs, we don't miss the lifestyle. But if there was a way to like capture that kind of freedom.
Yeah, when you don't have any, that would be great.
Yeah.
Because life is hard.
Life is hard. I think a lot of people have like a misconception, and it's because of what they're told about what recovery is. Recovery is like the hardest lifestyle you could live.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time that if you can quit doing drugs, if you can quit drinking like alcoholically or addictedly, then I'm pretty convinced that you can do pretty much anything. It's got to be like one of the hardest things that humans ever had to do is try to like kick an addiction.
I know. Well, it's like it's not hard to quit it. It's hard to stay quit.
I say it all the time.
You know what I mean? Like
getting clean is not hard. Staying clean is hard.
Staying is hard because then it's like, and then being an adult,
Yeah.
I mean, actually having to do work and be
I started
responsible.
using drugs like I think I tried my first oxy when I was 16. I was slamming heroin by the time I was 17, and so I didn't get clean for real. Like I think the most I put together was like that I could remember was 64 days. And I've gone to treatment a few times where like I would stay clean during treatment. I would immediately relapse after because I was just going to treatment to like escape consequences.
Right.
And so I finally was like introduced to myself when I was 31.
Yeah.
So I never knew like adult me ever.
No.
And so like learning who you are, taking on responsibility, fulfilling like obligations, and like being
medical power of attorney.
Yeah.
God bless me of all people.
Dude, yeah. Yeah, I mean it's crazy, right? Like ultimately like people that end up in, and we also just nature of the beast is like we have better insight to us than like most people. Okay, the way that I say it is like most people stay in the solution and they maybe venture out a little bit, but they stay pretty close to it.
Yeah.
We're coming from the problem towards the solution. And so our perspective is different. The things that we are willing to do and the things that we have done, most people would never even think about.
No.
Like I don't know many pharmacists that would like ever snort meth in a pharmacy.
Yeah.
I don't know many people. So I know more people than I think the average person, but I don't know many people that know people who've robbed banks, right?
Yeah.
And so like I've robbed a bank. I have friends. I have a bunch of friends that have robbed banks.
Oh, that's cool.
But,
I mean, I would never do that now, but that's
right. Yeah, but like most people, they don't know bank robbers.
no.
And like I was like the least successful one that I know. I only robbed one. A lot of my friends have robbed multiple banks.
Nice. What a goal.
Right? I was on another podcast and she was like, wait, it sounds like you're saying that you like chose to be a drug addict. And I was telling her like most kids, when you ask them what they want to do when they grow up.
I did not raise my hand and say I wanted to be an alcoholic.
Most people don't.
Yeah.
Right? But situationally and then like due to exposure. So the story goes, when I was like, I think I was 8. I was definitely younger than 10, but I was definitely older than 6. I was probably 8, somewhere around there. My grandpa like married this young Mexican chick and she had a bunch of gangbanger sons. And we would go like get left at my grandfather's house. Like not that we were left there, but he loved us there, right? And so we would go over there. And one time I like opened the bathroom door and my uncle was like shooting up in the bathroom. And he was like, shut the fucking door, shut the door, shut the door. And so I walked into the bathroom and shut the door. And from then on, like from that moment on, I knew that I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
I just knew that I would do it someday. And then you remember like those, I'm the oldest of 10 kids. So we always had those like water syringes
Yeah.
that babies have. And I like my whole childhood would pretend like I was shooting drugs.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't say that. That's my experience.
Right. I don't think it's a normal experience.
No. I think mine was very more emotional, like self-esteem wise.
So you're with Ryan.
Oh yeah. So I'm with Ryan. We're together plus 7-8 years, something like that.
That's a really long, fucked up relationship. A lot of those types of relationships don't last that long.
Yeah. Well, we just.
Was it a fucked up relationship?
Oh,
or was
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Like, he cheated on me a bazillion times.
I mean, you guys hang out at strip clubs.
Yeah. He actually introduced me to the girls that he would be cheating on because, like, I had, like, literally, I didn't know how to get away from it. He was my first.
Yeah.
Like, my first everything. And, like, and I thought I was just trying to be cool with him, you know, so that way he would hang out with me and stuff like that. And, finally, we were, you know, doing we ended up, the FBI came after us. That was also fun. We ended up doing like a real estate scheme back in the day. And so in Houston, there was like a whole $13 million of fraud, real estate fraud that happened like early 2000s. And so basically the scheme was that we would buy a property.
And short sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically like pull everything out and then like they would use my credit and everything. So at like barely 22 years old working at Kroger's, I somehow managed to get and of course they had everybody in line, right?
What were those mortgages called? Subprime mortgages?
Yeah. So like I bought 2 properties totaling like $1.5 million with a credit score of like
400,
like 600, like whatever it was, and I didn't know what was going on, but I just followed him, and we like all of a sudden like we got a check for like $10,000 or $15,000, and we would literally drink it and put it in our nose, like, and then finally it kind of all broke, you know, everybody went to jail and prison, and you know, and so like FBI went to my parents' house, knocked on the door, like they were trying to find me. Of course, I actually met with them at one point, and they were like, "Well, we're not trying to catch you because you're just like the little fish, but like if you help us," I was like, "What is this, like the movies?" I'm sitting here at the big conference table, and they're like. I was like, okay. But then Ryan was still alive. And so I was like, I didn't want him to go to prison. So I was like kind of in this stuck, like I can't tell anybody. And so he decided he was just going to like disappear. So I don't know where he went. You know, he went for like 2.5 weeks and then called me one day and said, "Hey, I'm at the airport. You need to come and get me." Throughout this whole time, like we are buying like 8 balls every night, and we ended up like sleeping on the couch at his mom's house until one day we got meth instead of coke, and he was horrible on it. And we ended up actually ironically, so they called the cops because he started trying to beat up his mom and his sister. And
classy.
But instead, he beat me up because I got in the middle, and he was like throwing their really nice dishes. Like we were living in the Galleria area, and all of that. So then, they called the cops and the ambulance, and so he ended up going to River Oaks Hospital. It was 12 Oaks.
Wow.
The irony, it's a 12 Oaks. It used to be 12 Oaks Hospital. So I remember we went there and we got the whole packet for rehab, like the whole thing. And lo and behold, like, 20 years, almost 20 years later, I'm rounding there.
That's so funny. I went to detox there.
Oh, yeah?
Wait a minute. How long have you been working there?
River Oaks?
Yeah.
Not long.
Okay.
I don't work there anymore. I mean, I think I'm still credentialed, but yeah. I was only there maybe like 4 months or something. For as long as I was at Serenity.
Wait, yeah. When did that start?
Serenity? February of this year.
Of this year? Okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then, God, it feels like a lifetime. This whole year has been
You had a crazy year.
I've had this year I started my own clinic. I moved in with my parents, with my husband, my 3-year-old. We're buying our house is being built, so we're closing December 23rd. So now we get to move.
December 23rd.
I know. I'm so excited to get out.
What area are you moving to?
It's called Stone Creek Estate, so it's off of 59 and 99.
Okay.
Like in Sugarland, Richmond area.
Yeah, that's like yeah.
Total opposite direction of here.
Yeah. I know. I live in Friendswood.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
And you come here?
Every day.
Wow, that's a drive.
Yeah. So I try to like leave at like 10:30 because then it takes 35 minutes to drive here. But if I leave at the wrong time, it turns into like an hour and a half drive.
Oh, yeah. So it was funny because like I was looking when you sent me the directions here when I looked at yesterday. It's like, it's like 35 minutes. And I was like, man, Mingham's far. Like, how's it only 35 minutes? But I think it was like a Sunday, right?
Yeah.
And then I looked today, and then I was like, 45 minutes. And I was like, that's a little bit more realistic. So I was like, it's going to be at least an hour by the time something happens, whatever. So
it's crazy. Like, if you have to go through because I have to, it's either I go through downtown or I go all the way around.
Yeah.
It's like, it's fucking crazy. I'm from California. Like, we have legendary like we have LA and San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
And you hear about like New York and Chicago traffic and shit like that. And then I moved here. I was like, why does nobody talk about Houston traffic?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
This is it. There's crazy traffic. And the
when
drivers
you don't
here,
even use miles anymore to figure out, like, the only way you can figure out how far something is by how many minutes it takes.
Yeah.
Like other places are like, it's like 3 miles away. But like 3 miles in Houston could be 45 minutes.
Could be, yeah.
Or 3.
Yeah, depending on what time. It's funny because right there, like on the 45 getting into downtown, it doesn't matter what time. I've hit traffic there at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Like that 59 and 610 intersection? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, it's just so crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so he beat up you.
Yeah, he beat me up. But I was still in love. And so we got kicked out of his mom's house. So that's when we started living in hotels. We lived in hotels for probably about a year. So I was working as a waitress.
Where?
At Pappacitos.
I just ate there for the first time. It's pretty good.
It's a little expensive, but it's good.
Yeah. They have really good steak fajitas.
Yeah. I like their shrimp fajitas if you add a little extra chili. They have a Diablo pepper. I
haven't eaten shrimp in a long time. Like a long time. And now, like, when I look at it, I'm like, that just doesn't even look good anymore.
Yeah.
Lobster, a lot of people love lobster.
I don't get it.
I don't either.
I don't get it. I've tried it. I'm not even a big steak fan. Like, I don't
Really?
get it. Like, I'm just, maybe it's because I grew up vegetarian. Like, I like burgers.
Yeah.
But like,
have you ever been to Papa's Burgers?
Yeah.
Oh, that place is amazing.
Yeah, Rudy's. Like, I like, I like all of that. But like, someone told me, we're gonna go get a steak, and I'm like, okay.
Wait a minute, it's you, right? We're supposed to take you out, me and Dr. Shaw.
Are we?
I don't know. I think so.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. Like, we're supposed to take you to dinner or something.
Why?
I don't know. He just said, hey, we have to take this person to dinner. I was like, okay. Because he wants you to work for him.
Oh, yeah. But I'm already, I'm trying to get credentialed at. I'm waiting. I sent my paperwork.
So we're buying a 148 bed facility with a 38 bed detox in Pasadena. So,
he's going to be the medical. He's the medical director.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is where we're proving and testing and like collecting data for NeuroWise.
Yeah.
And so, of course,
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm down. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's going to be, so we just got all of the deliverables. Like, we had the study designed by a couple PhDs, and like, we're looking for an IRB right now. And it'll be interesting. I've never, I was literally living under a bridge 5 years ago. Actually, it's coming up on. So my wife at the time, my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, found out she was pregnant the day before Thanksgiving of 2020. So, so the day after Thanksgiving, she told me she was pregnant and broke up with me the same time. She was like, you are going to get me killed. Like at this time in my life, shit was going really sideways. I was like robbing connects and like just doing crazy shit. And she was like, you're going to get yourself killed. You're probably going to get me killed. And then now I have this baby I got to worry about. And so she broke up with me. And in my head, I was like, okay, this is a perfect time to rob a bank because it was during COVID and you couldn't go into a bank without a mask on.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll fucking show her. Right. And
how'd that work out?
I got away with it.
Oh.
Yeah. I got away with it. I got caught on unrelated charges. But I gave that cop such a hard time. He was like looking through, you know what all points bulletins are? So they'll have like information and then they'll set out these warnings for like everybody to like be on the lookout for somebody. There's like be on the lookouts and then APBs, right?
Oh yeah. I was an APB.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, I told the bank that I had a bomb and that I would kill everybody. And so they wanted to talk to me. So I tell this cop, I give this cop, it's a nightmare. That I really put this cop through it. I was trying not to go to jail. Like, I tried everything that I could.
Yeah.
And so he was looking through and saw me. They didn't know my name. They just had a picture of me. And he called
This is all here? This is in San Diego?
San Diego.
Okay.
He called them and said, hey, I think I arrested your guy. And they came like 3 days later and booked me on it.
How long were you in prison?
So that's like a big part of how all of this started was I ended up taking a deal. I pled guilty and took a deal, and I got sent to residential for 3 years. Yeah. And so I was in residential for 3 years. And it was actually 2 years and 8 months. I went back for like I had to go in front of a judge for some reason. I don't remember. And the judge was like, you've been in treatment for, at this point, it's 2 years and 6.5 months or something like that. And I was graduating the program. Like the graduation that I was closest to fell into like right there. And so I was graduating, but I was just going to stay there. And the judge was like, if you make it to graduation, then your obligation to the courts is fulfilled. So it was like 4 months that they like let me go. But now I was still on probation for like a year and a half after that.
That's not bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, considering the deal, the max exposure was like, I can't remember if it was 56 years or 86 years. That was like, if they maxed out on the charges and like hit me with the max on all of everything, it would have been either 56 or 86 years in prison. The deal was 33. That was like what they were offering me. And they were like, if you want a better deal, go to trial and we'll see what happens. And it was like very obviously me. Like my family like saw the pictures on the news and they were like, oh, that is for sure. That is for sure, Matthew. Like, I'll show you the pictures.
Oh my God. What a story.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, so I didn't end up going to prison. I just had like a lot of prison time over my head at one point. And
how did you like get away with just one?
Just one?
1.5 years of probation and then 2 years in residential?
Ultimately, it was 3 years of residential, and they start the probation clock the day you get out of jail. So they wanted me on probation for 4 years and in a residential facility for 3. And so 3 of the 4 years of...
But the deal was 33 years?
Yeah. That was the deal. They were like, you can take...
And then the jury said only... Like
no, because I took a deal. I didn't have to go to trial.
Okay.
Right. And so the way that the punitive like justice system works is like you can go to trial or they can give you a deal. If you go to trial and you get found guilty, you get the max.
Okay.
Right. Or you can get a deal, get a lot less, but they get their conviction.
So if you were to break probation, then you'd have to go to 33 years.
So the deal I signed for was 10, but there was technicalities in the sentencing. So the way that it ended up working was I signed a deal where I took 2 strikes. and then they hung a strike in 10 years. So if I messed this deal up, I would have gotten 10 off the top, and then they would have given me my third strike, which would have allowed them to try to sentence me 25 to life.
Wow.
And so the reason why they gave me like such a great deal is because it was like, you're either going to get this right or you're going to go to prison for forever. So
let's not go to prison forever.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a very easy
decision.
not just decision, but it also was like, when you have that kind of consequence over your head, like it's really easy not to fuck up. If with the like the right mindset, right?
Yeah, no, I remember that mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like, you don't have the consequences anymore, right? That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I moved to Texas. I didn't have all these consequences over my head anymore. I had fulfilled my obligations. And really, the probation, once I was on probation, all that time goes away anyway, right? So the deal was I was going to complete this program and they dropped the charges, right? So now I'm just on probation. Now it's just like, if I fuck this up, I'll go to jail for 10 days or whatever. So when that became a thing, 6 months later, I relapsed, right? And this show is called My Last Relapse because of what happened in that relapse. That's where I met Dr. Shah. He detoxed me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is a whole funny story. You should ask him about my...
Dr. Shah's introduced me to a whole lot of individuals in the last few.
So this is my booking picture. This is what I looked like when I got arrested.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's, yeah.
And then I've got... So when you type in Matthew Handy San Diego, the first thing that pops up is the pictures of me in the bank. Yeah.
I'm really glad that I don't know have my mugshot picture.
You don't have it? Mm-mm. Oh man. So these are those two on the left on the top.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So like all you could see is this, but it is very obviously me. Isn't that crazy?
Oh. Yeah. No more robbing banks.
No more robbing banks. That was when I first met Megan is when that's my wife. That's when all my friends were like doing all of that shit. And so our whole relationship, I would tell her like, I could just rob a bank. It's so easy. Like, I know I can get away with it and all this shit for years, like for 3 years. I would tell her this and she would just be like, just don't fucking do it. Like, we don't need that. Like, obviously, like, we didn't need that money, and you're not going to get a lot of money out of a bank unless you take it over.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you're just walking up in there and saying, give me the money, they're going to give you the money that's right in front of them. That's it.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to
press the button and then.
Yeah. Well, my whole thing, so enough of my friends had done it where they were like, if you say this, this, and this, they won't hit the alarm. They won't give you any like tracers. They won't mark the money. They'll just give it to you and you just leave. Right? And so I had like all that playbook. And I'm genius, right? When I'm doing drugs and like yeah. I had this like yeah.
I was genius when I was
no, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Yeah.
I did really good selling cocaine.
Actually, I
was actually not that bad because like my like face is not very, it's very
cocaine
innocent.
Dealer,
yeah, like nobody would ever think of me as a, drug addict, alcoholic.
Okay, I'm not going to lie. When you didn't really describe him, but the picture that came into my head when you talk about Ryan is Malibu's Most Wanted.
Yes.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Like just pale, like the whole thing. Like
yeah. Baggy clothes.
Yeah.
Chain.
Every once in a while, but like he was very preppy. Like you would have never put him as a drug dealer or anything like that. Like he was so. But then you added the short little black dude. Like we were like it was literally like a movie.
Yeah.
We'd be driving in my Toyota Corolla because they didn't have a car.
Yeah.
Going up to strip clubs and selling cocaine. And I was in college at U of H, and I was I was trying to get my degree in math, apparently.
Oh, are you good at math?
Used to be. Like,
Come this way.
Oh.
See how everybody ends up doing that?
I don't know why.
I've got to figure it out. You know what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put like a piece of wood
and just go
behind that so that you can't move back. Everybody does it. But yeah, okay. So you got into meth.
Well, yeah. So that I didn't really get into meth. That was like the first time I ever tried meth. But then
how'd you end up snorting meth at the?
Well, so we didn't finish the whole bag, and then so he couldn't tolerate it, but I could. So I just slowly finished the bag because I wasn't. It's not like I was going to throw it away.
Okay, so you were already working at a pharmacy.
Yeah, so I was working at a pharmacy, and I was working part-time at the restaurant. And then we got kicked out of the house, and his mom
What was he doing for work?
He didn't work.
Selling coke?
Yeah. So he made enough, he basically went off the grid after the whole FBI situation.
Yeah.
And then, so we lived, after that, I ended up leaving the pharmacy because I wasn't really making I was, making $15 an hour or whatever it was. So I was making more as a waitress. So I would work basically like every day except Sundays. So that would pay for the hotel and the 8-ball of Coke and my alcohol or our alcohol.
Every day?
Every day.
Terrible. What kind of tips were you making?
It wasn't great. Pappacitos, but I'd have to work like the whole shift, like double shift to make, I had to make at least 130, I forgot what my calculation. In tips to cover the hotel.
The extracurriculars?
Yes, that's all we did. Like I literally, as I wear scrubs every day, I literally only wear scrubs and pajamas. And then every once in a while I get excited if I get to wear a pair of jeans.
Nice.
But my pajamas are my favorite. But yeah, so I just worked at Pappacitos for forever. And then I think I was like 24. So then one day, so I only had a car. So he didn't have a car, he didn't have a driver's license, he didn't do shit. He just sat at the hotel room all day while I worked like a chump. And then one day he would drop me off at work and then pick me up later. Well, yeah. So then he had the car the whole time too.
Yeah.
Oh, and then our cigarettes. So we had cigarettes. So we would,
Yeah. Cigarettes are an expensive habit.
Yeah. I was like, we would smoke at least a pack and a half a day.
That's crazy.
Each of us. Yeah.
Each of you?
Yeah. So we would.
It was
a lot of cigarettes, but cigarettes were significantly cheaper. And then the 8-ball.
Then Coke, yeah.
Yeah, then you had the Coke. So it was and then the hotel was like $45
Oh, wow. You guys were staying at some classy places?
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know that hotels existed that didn't play porn.
What's that?
I was so confused.
So funny.
I know. When I got into recovery, I was moving my sponsor. We drove to Tennessee, and I stayed at a hotel room for the first time in God knows, forever. And we stayed at a Holiday Inn, nothing
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, there's no porn on here. And she just looked at me like, what? And I was like, well, every hotel I've stayed at in the last 2 years.
Did you get on there and look for it?
No, but it was I was just flipping through the channels, figuring out what's on TV, and so it was oh, there's no girl on girl.
So funny.
I know. I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
That's funny.
It was crazy. 7-8 years of, him cheating on me. He was supposed to get married to some other girl, but I would be on the side.
But you were the main chick on the side?
Yeah. If at one point he was making money.
Selling coke?
No, he's got into the real estate stuff before, it all hit the fan. And so I was there for the downfall. And so whenever his friends left him because he didn't have any more money, he would call me, right?
Yeah.
So of course that's not really good for self-esteem, and that was my first love. And then so one day he went and he came to pick me up, and he was doing way more coke Like, and I was like, where did, because I lost money all of a sudden in my purse. And then apparently I guess he went to go get more Coke from whoever my contact was. And he did a little too much. And then we were, like, and I was doing some because I found it. And then, of course, we were both doing it together. And he would get really, really paranoid doing the Coke, like, looking out the windows. And then so this time, he ran out the hotel room, and he ended up on the roof and fell off and died.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and I watched him die, and it was so crazy because it was like that. And as soon as he, like, they called, ambulance and everything, and he was in the ambulance in the bay, or in the ambulance, and they're like, who are you? I'm like, I'm his wife. I'm his wife, right? Like, I got to get into the ambulance. And they're like, you can't go in there. You can't go in there. And I was like, okay. And then, like, not even 10 minutes in there, he died.
Wow.
Like, he had hit on the hotels on Hillcroft and 59, there's that Guadalajara restaurant, and, like, right behind
I don't know over there that well.
Yeah. So there's a hotel like, on the second floor, there's a
railing.
There's a ceiling, like, they have, like, a ballroom or, a cafeteria or something. So there was the roof so he fell off the fourth floor onto the roof of that and hit his head. So then they had to go grab him, and of course he had a brain bleed and he died.
Wow.
And then not even 5 minutes when I got back to the room, when the police officers were there, like, his mom called. It was like him and his mom were not on speaking terms after she kicked him out.
Oh.
And then they were finally starting to, talk again. So, like, they were talking, like, once a week or something like that. And then I didn't tell her, but the police officers did. And then they were like, you need to search the room because there's probably cocaine in there. And so they searched and they didn't find it, but it was in there. And then I finished it. So that was a really awkward funeral because everybody thought I pushed him. But, like, it was really sad because there was nobody there. Nobody there. Like, he didn't have any friends except. And then, like, like, the little black dude, Mark, that we would hang out with, like, he didn't even come to his funeral. And they used to live together. Like, they were, like, best friends.
Yeah.
And it was just me that showed up. And then, like, his little sister and me were, like, really close. And now we're definitely not close. And it's really weird because, like, me and the older sister stayed friends-ish. And I mean, like, we just kept up with each other, like, on Facebook, and, like, would comment randomly, like, nothing, exciting. And then somehow, like, I was pregnant, and the little sister, no, not by him.
Oh,
like,
right.
I was pregnant, like, just recently,
Okay.
like, 3 years ago. And so, like, she's never on Facebook or Insta or anything like that. And all of a sudden I get this message, and I'm, like, 8 months pregnant, and she's like, you're the reason why my brother died. Like, why are you still, keeping in touch or commenting on their Facebook? I hope your little boy dies and all of this stuff. Like, I hope you go through the same pain that we've been through. And I was like, and I felt really bad for her because I was like, because it's been almost 20 years since he passed.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, something like that. And so I was like, and this is, like, you're still, like, hating me, like, to have that much hate, like, almost, 15 years later, and you have kids, and that you would wish that upon, like, that's really sad. That I was like, that's kind of a, I mean,
telling.
Yeah, I was like, I just had to say a prayer for her because I was like, that's not, like, what kind of, like, if that's, you have that much hatred because of somebody, your brother was the addicted one, right? Like, but they thought it was me that caused it, and I was like, he's the one that introduced it to me, not the other way around.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, it was
Crazy.
weird. Yeah.
So how long after he died did you get sober?
Years.
Years.
Yeah, I stopped doing cocaine at the time.
Oh.
I stopped doing cocaine because, of course, I found another guy, and he was, like, 20 years older than me.
And he didn't do cocaine?
No, but we had met at the bar, and we were, like, friends, like, while Ryan was alive, and his name was Andy, and then he had 2 kids, and then when Ryan died, I was still doing cocaine, and he was like, you need to stop doing this. And then we started hooking up, of course. And then, so I stopped doing cocaine, but I drank a lot more.
What was worse, the coke or the drinking?
The drinking, significantly more. I did coke to drink more.
Oh.
So, like, I mean, the cocaine, like, it wasn't, I mean, I haven't done cocaine in, like, almost 17 years, 18 years, yeah. But alcohol has only been 11. So it's only.
So when did you start going to treatment?
So I got a second DWI when I was with Andy. So I was the before girl. So me and him had an affair. He was married with 2 kids. So I was having an affair with him. And then they got divorced. And then we lived together for like 5 years. And I helped raise his kids. And then I got the second DWI, and his ex-wife found out about it. And then basically his lawyer was like, well, you either have to choose your kids or her. So obviously he chose his kids.
That's probably a good decision.
Yeah, but he was also as alcoholic as I was, if not. Well, I was drinking all day, but he was very possessive. Like, he wouldn't let me, like, go to the bar.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
You know what I mean? Like, and it was the bar that we met at.
I'm
and like,
very not surprised.
Yeah, like, he just, he hit me a couple of times. Like, if we were going to go to the bar, I had to go with him. Or, like, I wasn't allowed to have friends. Like, I lost.
I mean, when you meet somebody like that, it's highly indicative of how they are, like, because the assumption is, that's how I met her. Like, why wouldn't she do this with someone else?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And so I'm not saying that it's right, but the logic tracks for sure.
Oh, no, totally. Like, I mean, he was a better guy because it was like everything was in comparison to the previous guy, right? So, like, he came home every night, you know, and then eventually he cheated on me, as, you know, most people do. But then, like, we were going through this huge custody issue with the kids, because she was like, oh, he's drunk, and, you know, of course he was. Like,
what did he do for work?
He's one of the finance directors at BMW. But she worked from home. I mean, she didn't work at all, but she was very sneaky. So I was like, I don't blame her at all to this day. Like, so she would start. He never looked at his bank account. She was in charge of everything. So she already kind of knew that he was cheating on her, and or, like, you know, she had the inclination, so she started stashing money away. And so she waited till 10 years for her to finally say, I'm going to divorce you. I think they were married 10 or 11 years. So, like, in the state of Texas is after 10 years you pay alimony.
Oh, she is smart.
Yeah. And then so he was making tons of money because he was a finance director.
Yeah.
And by the end of their divorce/custody thing,
he was broke.
Oh, like, he couldn't even work at BMW anymore, like, because she would just show up to the dealership and, like, cause all sorts of drama. And so he ended up at the Mini Cooper, and then they finally had to let him go there. And then he was working out somewhere in 290, and then Toyota he was at for a little bit. Like, just, he was like, yeah. And then she was just, and so she was like she was also dating other guys. Like, we were, like, you know, doing all of this. And she ended up hiring a private investigator, and he followed me. And I was in court for for the DWI, and the PI showed up to my DWI hearing and stated that here's video of her drinking.
Wow.
And so before I even signed papers or anything, like, I had the interlock in my car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were like, what the fuck? Basically. So, and I wasn't anything. Like, I wasn't allowed to work because I worked at the CVS and the neighborhood CVS. And I was like, they're like, yeah, you can't. He was like, you can't work there anymore. And then
the judge?
No, my ex. Like, I wasn't even allowed to work, really. I think I got a job at my dad's old engineering company. My dad sold his company to my uncle, like where everybody's my uncle. And so I worked for him out in near Hobby Airport.
Okay.
It's from Sugar Land. So I would drive. And then my dad had bypass surgery in the middle of all of that. So I'm drunk going to this job and passing out at work,
Do you have sexual trauma in your past?
No. I mean, I've done stupid sexual things, but like not like where I was like, I wasn't ever raped or like anything like that. But, but yeah, I just, yeah, it was bad. Like, I mean, it was just, I just kept drinking and it like, and I was, before I only drank at night, right? Like after I got off of work but now I don't have a job. I don't have anything to live for. Now I'm drinking during the day. And that's when I crossed the line. I don't even remember. I drove his car and I wrecked it when I got my second DWI.
Wow.
Like, and he was driving a 750 BMW. And apparently he called me saying that he was going to get a ride. And then I got mad that I was like, well, I'll just come and pick you up from Z-Bar. Like, how dare you go to Z-Bar without me? And then when I left to go pick him up is when and I apparently I ran over there was a ditch and I could have died.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you don't remember any of it?
No. I remember seeing the car afterwards. My first DWI, I thought I was on Highway 6, but apparently I was on Westheimer. And I don't remember them handcuffing me. I just remember coming to, because I fully blacked out. I remember coming to in the drunk tank on my first DWI. And
Downtown?
No, luckily it was the best jail, Fort Bend County. So, but now it's the federal jail. So my first jail was, and I didn't call my parents.
Of course.
Right. So Ryan first picked me up with his little sister there. And then, I went through probation and, did all of that. And I was fine. I was good. I still drank through my whole probation, but I didn't cross the line. And then when I got the second DWI is when I was like, oh, as soon as I sign papers, I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to quit going, And then, I couldn't stop. And so I lucked out. So at the second DWI, I also, not only did I get the second DWI, but me and Andy broke up because it was all in the same 2012 arena. So then I went to rehab 3 times. So you know how God works? He's a very interesting guy, that God guy.
Yeah.
So I kept getting caught. I was a story at Fort Bend County for how many times I got caught drinking.
Really?
Yeah. The last time I got caught was because I was going through DTs. I was shaking so bad at my UA. I've had seizures. I went to India and I drank I didn't have a sober breath for at least 6 years, 5 years, 6 years, something like that. And so my sister was getting married. And so me and my dad, we went to India. And we sat at different places on the plane so we both could drink. But I had never suddenly stopped drinking. So we were at my
Ever? Yeah.
And so I was at my cousin's wedding, and all of a sudden I had 4 or 5 seizures. Seizures, 25, 30-minute seizures.
Holy shit.
And they didn't even know what to do with me in India.
Yeah.
Because they were and then you don't know where, because in India, it's different. It's not every hospital, they're going to treat you the same. If you don't have money, they ain't going to treat you. Yeah. So I ended up waking up in ICU, strapped, restrained to a bed. It's
wow.
The fuck?
Because alcohol, obviously there's alcohol over there, but it's not such a prevalent issue, right?
Oh, it's huge. It's just very, it's the guys drink a lot. But girls generally do not.
Yeah.
So I am at my cousin's wedding at the first thing, and I'm having seizures and stuff, and nobody knows what the fuck is happening. And my dad's like, "What drugs is she on?" Because and then so he calls my ex, and my sister's in pharmacy school, and she's like, "She needs Librium. Somebody give her some Librium." like, what's Librium?
Huh, they don't even have it over there?
They do, but they'd have it chlorpodexidine, right? But like they didn't know that was like what they needed to give me, to help with the seizures or for the kids. They didn't know what to do with alcohol seizures versus regular. So, yeah. So, I mean, and then I got back and that was the first time I went to the Council for Recovery. My dad straight up took me there and he was like, you need to go to rehab.
How did he know about it?
I don't know.
He just was like online or something.
I'm assuming my sister did some research and then they came back. And so nobody left me alone. I was not allowed to be by myself for the rest of the trip.
That's probably good.
Yeah, except for when I was with my dad.
Because he drank.
He drank. So I stayed in a hotel room with my dad the last week and I'm not even joking. I started ordering room service and drinking beer and hiding the beers underneath the bed and Kingfisher and whatever I could.
That's so funny.
I know. I was not even 2 weeks after seizures. I'm here. I am back drinking.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you went to treatment 3 times, back to back?
So I went to treatment the first time for 30 days, and then.
How long did you stay sober?
I didn't stay sober.
Okay.
I went to treatment for the 28 days to get probation off my back. And then I kept getting caught. I got, the shakes and all of that. I went through all of that. Because, I would time how much alcohol I could drink so I could pass the breathalyzer in the car. I did it so I could have, 6 tall boys. And I'd still go to AA because I was made to go and get my paper signed. And then I would leave and I'd have 4 tall boys. And then I math, I did some crazy math and, computations to make sure I could pass and go to work the next day. And then, of course, I got caught again. And the judge was like, I'm fucking done with you. Judge Bilstein was like, you have done, he's like, your little innocent face is no longer, because I'd be like, my boyfriend called me and then this was what happened and then I had to drink and, we're breaking up. And so he had felt so bad and this and that. And then finally, after the 6th time,
he was like, you're going to jail.
Yeah. And I think that first time when he told the bailiff to, just put me in the little jail or whatever, I was like, well, I need to tell my dad where I'm going, And so they're like, oh, yeah. So the lawyer called my dad. And my dad he didn't even talk to me. And then the lawyer goes, your daughter is going to jail. We don't know when she's going to come out. He was like, okay, good. And hung up the phone. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Because he was fucking done. Done. And so we went, so that I went to jail. And I remember crying for the first time. Not because I knew I got caught again and I might be going to prison because they were like, you're going to save P, that's the end.
Mm-hmm. Which is terrible, I hear.
Yeah. And so when I was like, oh my God, I wasn't even sad about going to that. I was like, oh my God, I cannot do this by myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was that first time, I was like, this is the defeat. This is it. I'm either going to stay sober or not. I can't do it by myself. I can't stay sober by myself. I need to have other people in my life because I thought if I hung out with sober people, I could do,
Sober by osmosis.
Yes, that didn't work out very well. So
it hardly ever does.
No. So I was supposed to pull chain and somehow my counselor at Braz's place, my treatment center out in Lake Jackson, my probation officer called him and was like, what do you think we should do with her? And he was like, give me 90 days. Don't send her to prison. The lights is flickering in there. I just need more time with her. And I was allowed to go to rehab again the second time.
For 90 days.
For 90 days.
So that I mean, when I hear stories like this, it's like, how did we end up in a situation where 28 days became the standard when we have proof that people need longer stays?
Mm-hmm.
There's very clear proof.
Because 30 days is not enough.
90 days is probably not enough.
90 days is, the only reason why I got through 75 was because I went to sober living after.
Yeah. Okay, see, and that's another thing is it isn't standardized across the nation that it is also paid for as an auxiliary to treatment. And so like there are states where, like Florida, the whole Florida model is based off of sober living. There is basically no difference. People don't understand the difference between residential and sober living. Like there are people that think that they are in rehab, but they are in sober living. Right?
Yeah, no.
And so that, what I said earlier around the exposure to the length of treatment dictates outcome, right? But that's not the...
that's not the standard. It's 28 days and then you peace out. Like,
yeah, there is no like, unless you're working, unless you get a commitment to stay within like that company's continuum. Like if you're like, if you're going to treatment in Arizona.
Yeah.
And then you're coming back to Houston, they don't even care. No. It's like,
they'll be back.
Yeah.
We'll get more insurance out of it. Like, I mean, that's the model, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And it's, and it's just people are dying out there. And I think more people, I don't have any studies or anything, but like, I feel more people have died after the 28 days, like, because their next relapse sometimes is their last.
So with the introduction of fentanyl to the drug supply and like all this stuff, let's like the realistic part about the fentanyl situation is you're going to lower their tolerance for 28 days.
That's it.
And that is enough to really
put them up, like, because they're next and they're like, oh, I could handle that much.
Even if they can't, even if they know they can't, your exposure to the most minimal amount of fentanyl can kill you if you have no tolerance.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing those videos of like cops that are opening car doors and just the residual that's sitting, like they'll be smoking and there's like residual on the chairs and stuff.
Yeah.
And they'll start getting all that moving around and they're overdosing from just inhaling like residual.
Crazy. Yeah.
So fentanyl is like extremely dangerous, right? And so with no commitment to like a lower level of care, this model does not work because they're not going to make it back.
No, I've known way too many people that have died after 28 days than people that have actually stayed sober.
So I was in treatment for 3 years, 2 years, 8 months, right?
Yeah.
It was a 3-year residential commitment. And it took 18 months before I had like a real breakthrough, right? Yeah. And it was like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like basically what it came down to was like I needed that much time to like have my head cleared, kind of like accomplish a couple things and like build patterns around like healthy living.
Absolutely.
In order for me to like wake up one day and be like, oh my gosh, like I haven't even thought about drugs in months, and then there was like a little bit of room to like make some adjustments mentally that allowed me to like walk into the next phase of it, which was like a spirituality thing, right? But it was 18 months. It is very hard to condense 18 months of life lessons and clearing your head and like putting that much time between you and drugs into 28 days.
No, 28 days is not enough. That I can guarantee. Like I don't even know why it's 28 days.
I don't know why either. I don't know how 28 days ended up becoming. Well, I get like, so 7-day increments I get because you're justifying every 7 days to get.
I guess, yeah, that makes sense.
So 7-day increments make sense, but how did we get stuck on 20? And
for me, my thinking was like 28 days because of that's actual treatment. And then like if they have like a little bit residual, like to find another place or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the higher ups, that's above
really
my
what
pay grade.
I think you're saying, this is what Dr. Shaw and I are saying is 28 days is a stabilization period.
Yeah.
That's really what it should be used for. Because ultimately, like, the magic that can happen in a treatment episode, it's going to happen in lower levels of care. It's going to happen in IOP probably, right? But with no commitment to IOP, if you're going to treatment out of state and you're coming back after treatment, there is no like real concern for them to get you into a lower level because they're not going to benefit from it. So they'll make the calls or whatever, but it's really hard to do like a door-to-door warm handoff with the client that's going from California to Texas. It's doable.
I remember leaving treatment. They're like, okay, well, the first thing you need to do is go to an AA meeting. And then they wouldn't tell us which meeting to go to.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That was just like, okay, well, there you go.
Well, and that's another part, right, is that like we are told that our decision-making is fucked up and that we can't make our own decisions. But then it's like, we are going to release you go make your own decisions.
Correct. Yeah.
And it's like,
it takes, like, for the people that I've seen that don't go to treatment and they try to get sober just in the rooms, like, that first 30 days, like, they're barely speaking English. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just like, please stop talking. Like, just, you put put the cotton in your ear or in your mouth and just listen. Like, that's all you can do. You just don't drink in that 20, like, and that's how it was done back in the day, But, like, these... Like 30 days is nothing. 28 days is nothing in a It's just literally like, I'm just trying to learn how to make my bed, right? Like just simple. For me, it was like taking a shower every day. Like that was like my first thing. I was like, if I know that if I don't take a shower every day, then I'm like in relapse mode.
Yeah.
It was very simple. Like I mean, I couldn't even function.
Yeah, my mentor and I, right now he's kind of on this kick where he's talking about when people make changes in their lives, it's almost instinctual to try to make big changes, right? Like, okay, I'm going to get my life together and I'm going to create this plan and I'm going to do all of these things.
And then you fail, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to drink.
Well, you hit friction points, right? Like, there are friction points in success that when it's like, when you are spread thin, first of all, so it's like, you're going to make all of these changes and you're going to do all this stuff. He tells people, look, I don't need you to change anything. I just need you to start waking up early, doing some push-ups, and eating a little bit better. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Right?
That's simple.
So it's the incremental tightening of the daily habits is what he says, right?
Absolutely.
Incrementally, like really dialing stuff like piece by piece, like step by step. And it's like, but what we want to do is like, we're going to change everything.
Of course.
And it's like,
we're going to move in with that guy because he looked at me funny and like, we're hanging out every day and I'm going to get the best job and, and I'm like, and I'm like, I'm just trying to, like my sponsor, when I first really got serious about the program, she was like, you just need to do something at your parents' house. Cause I decided to move back to my parents after the second treatment. And then, so I was like, okay. No, the third time. I was like, okay, so what do I do? And she was like, okay, well, take out the trash the day before trash day, or do the dishes without them asking you to do the dishes, or like do something. She was like, the biggest thing was like, do not lie. Like, and like I would lie with stupid things. Like I didn't even know, like, and now I don't even know, I can't not, like, at that point, I was like, I cannot not lie. Like, everything was so fucked. But now I'm like, I don't even know how to lie or fib anymore. Like, I just feel so bad. I'm just like, I don't. Yeah. Like, and if I'm lying about it, then, like, why should I lie about something? Like, there should be nothing in my life that, like, I'm not proud of at this point.
Very true. I tell people all the time that, like, addiction is illogical. A lot of what we did. Yeah. If we, like, played the tape through all the way... like the decisions that we were making were fucking insane, but recovery is the same way. Like a lot of this stuff, it's like anti-instinctual, where it's like, well, I feel like I should be doing this, but for some reason I'm like being told to do something really different. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, well, it's because our thinking is fucked up.
I know. I'm always like, when I heard first thought wrong, I was like, that's the way.
It's like the light turned on.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that was like the second. The first two rehabs were at the same place. And then, of course, I met a guy at the second rehab. But I had to stay sober because I did not want to go to Safe P.
Oh, yeah. I just heard. So I had a guest on and he was talking about like his Safe P experience.
Because they were like, you're not going to like.
His whole life goal now is to develop a program to take down that program, to like get it shut down and do something better. Yeah. That's like his whole mission in life now. It's like that bad.
Yeah. Like I can't even imagine how it is for guys because girls I feel like maybe a little bit easy. I don't know.
I feel like this is a hot take, right? I think that if girls are willing to be manipulative, life could be a lot easier for them. But hey.
So I meet the third boyfriend or whatever. His name was Johnny, And then, so I stayed sober. He did not. And that's actually, so how I met my husband is the first time I went to a meeting at Lamplighters, he was there sharing, and like literally every other word was a cuss word. And I was like, why doesn't somebody give that guy a drink? Like, he sounds horrible.
Oh, that's right. He was angry at the time.
He was so angry. Like, everybody was throwing Tootsie Rolls at him to shut him up. Like, if the chair looked at him wrong, like, fuck that. It was like, I was like, oh my God, like, please, somebody help him. Like, I'm not that bad. Like, it was kind of like that.
Yeah.
And then I relapsed again. And then I didn't relapse again. But like, I started dating, me and Donnie started, dating or whatever. And so he showed up drunk to one of the meetings. And as soon as he showed up, like Richard and some couple of other dudes like took him to the back and was like, talking to him and everything. And I was like, oh my God, this is really embarrassing.
Yeah.
But whatever. So we dated for and then so Richard became his sponsor. And then we kind of all started like going to the 8 o'clock meetings, living in sober living and, trying to do the things.
Yeah. But everybody's fucking each other and like.
Yeah. Well, me and Donnie were just fucking each other. I mean, we were dating. So we were together like, I don't know, 10, 11 months. And then, but he kept relapsing and I stayed sober. And because I had to, or else I was going to prison.
Yeah.
For like at least 8 years. And so I was
That's
like.
a good chunk of time.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to prison.
I've done like 9 years total.
Yeah. Like.
And it's like, that's
I've done 30 in county between like Harris County and days
yeah.
total. No, I was going every weekend. So probably total 6 months, like in the last, before I got sober.
Yeah.
So when Donnie and I, like, whatever. So his last relapse, I knew he was going to die. Like, he was a vet. He suffered from PTSD. VA didn't help him, the whole thing.
Yeah, they rarely do.
So he ended up I took him to the psych ward of the VA like at least 5 times. And I just watched him go through all of this and watched his family go through and watch me go through, feeling all the feels.
Do you like looking back on it now, like, do you just like chaotic relationships?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm addicted to chaos.
Yeah.
Hence my life now. Like, it's completely chaotic.
Is it?
Oh yeah. But it's great.
Yeah.
It's because of me. Like, it's a good chaotic. So he met some dude at the psych ward at the VA and ended up getting a motel room, and he did heroin for the first time and died.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
I was the one that had to identify the body and tell his parents and his brother, and I was like, why in the world did this happen again?
Did you like warn your husband like, hey, you might die?
Yeah,
if you date me.
Yeah, well, so Richard, the husband, was my first phone call. Like,
okay.
After I had to identify him, I called Richard.
Okay.
Because I was like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. And he was like, well, you just come meet us at Starbucks, like, right now. Yeah. Because, they were like, he was like, oh, she's going to drink. He was like, well, what are you doing right at this exact second? I was like, I'm staring at a Miller Lite 18-wheeler truck. Like, I was literally at the gas station. And he was like, don't you dare go in that gas station. I was like, well, I need to get gas. He was like, well, you can get gas at the gas pump. Yeah. And then, he was like, and I was like, but I need cigarettes too. And he was like, okay, well, then you take me, like, I'll talk to you the whole time while you're getting cigarettes. And so I had to go to Clear Lake.
Do you smoke still?
No.
Okay.
So I have to go to Clear Lake and tell his mom. And his dad, his parents were divorced. So his dad lived in Sugarland. And so I went to his mom first and told his brother. And that was probably one of the hardest things because, like, here I am, I'm fucking sober as a judge. I relapsed in my brain, like, as soon as I got off of probation, but I didn't pick up. Yeah. And then I got my 1-year chip, and then I relapsed 4 days later. And I was like, I'm done. I was like, I've lost 2 boyfriends, and, like, fuck it. Right?
Yeah.
So I just started living in hotel rooms. I still had a job. But I was just drinking every day, all day, every day.
And how long did that last for?
2.5 months.
Okay.
I thought I could do the control drinking.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'll just have 2 beers and then like go back and do whatever. Yeah, that didn't work out. I literally quit my job like the week of my birthday in December, and I was like, I'm done. Like, I just want to die in a motel room and just let everybody like be peaceful without me. That's just where I was. I was done. And then thank God, I was in the program, right? So like, of course, the people in the program, one of the girls did a 12-step call, and I ended up in rehab for the 3rd time. And then I've stayed sober since.
And that was 28 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think internally, I didn't really think I needed rehab.
Yeah.
I just needed somewhere to go.
Lick your wounds.
Yeah, just for 28 days where I don't have any responsibilities and I could stay away from alcohol, So like they got me on some antidepressants and all. They thought I was bipolar. Like I was like, I don't think I'm any of these things, but okay.
Well, that's a whole thing.
Yeah,
right?
Which is a whole different. Yeah. And then so finally, eventually, I stopped taking the antidepressants and so I just started working the program.
Yeah.
Meeting every day, twice a day, if not more. I didn't get a job. I was lucky because I decided to move back in with my parents. And then my sponsor I met at the Oxford House, she's still, we're still friends to this day. She was at my wedding and everything. But I chose her. I asked her to be my sponsor because, I knew I couldn't lie to her.
Mm.
That was the game changer, was that I knew I didn't want to drink anymore, but I didn't trust myself.
I mean, yeah, how long did you not want to drink for?
Oh, forever.
Yeah.
Until, once it started, kicking my butt, I mean, brown people don't turn colors, and, I was yellow.
Yeah.
I never got tested, but...
I don't know. Am I brown? Would you say I'm brown?
Yeah, ish.
Okay, I'm Vietnamese.
Yeah.
And I'm, super allergic
you look
to alcohol.
tan. Yeah.
Super allergic. When I drink, I get bright red.
Oh, nice.
It's fucked up. It's so uncomfortable.
You're like, rah.
Yeah. And it's very uncomfortable to the point of almost being painful and itchy, and just, I fucking hate drinking.
Oh.
And I go from stone cold sober to passed out drunk in 2 beers.
Oh.
I have it's no tolerance for it.
Nice. I wish I had that, but.
No, it's bad. I mean, I don't know.
But then I'm but then you were shooting up and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
might not have been on the needle. No, I definitely would have still been on a needle for a long time.
I look back and I was thinking, if Rye was still alive and we were still doing the thing, I think I would have eventually started injecting stuff. I always snorted and
stuff. Have you ever met anybody that injected coke?
I know. But the heroin.
Yeah. So injecting coke is not fun.
No. I mean, I would never, I figured that would be
the
my next.
Progression
right?
would be,
I would be injecting something. I don't know what, but nothing. Nothing good.
It happens quick, yeah.
Yeah.
So. It happens pretty quick.
Because I know he did.
Yeah. Oh, if he did, for sure.
Yeah, but he didn't inject with me ever.
Yeah.
But we did a lot of snorting, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, he wouldn't have. Yeah, it wouldn't have been injecting coke. Because if it was fun, you would have seen him do it. It is not fun.
Yeah. I really liked X. That was out of everything. It was heroin based X. I was like.
Oh yeah, and purples and blues and shit. Yeah. I got over ecstasy was when I was doing up to 15, 17 pills a weekend, I got over that quick because the come down off of that is so terrible.
So hard. Yeah. I only did 1 or 2, and I was for 3 days.
Oh no, dude. It would be laying in bed.
Yeah.
Trying to just, okay. the hollow feeling, that's where, like, you'll never feel more hollow than after, like, a weekend of, like, really hard rolling. It is the worst feeling.
I mean, I was a low tolerant.
I've kicked heroin. I don't know if I could honestly, like, estimate how many times. I've probably kicked heroin 50 times. And you could put all of those kicks together and it still never felt as bad as like coming off ecstasy. It's terrible.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, it's terrible. Well, okay. It's been, we're coming up on 3 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jesus. We talk a lot.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
That was fun. Thanks for listening to My Last Relapse. I'm Matt Handy, the founder of Harmony Grove Behavioral Health, Houston, Texas, where our mission is to provide compassionate, evidence-based care for anyone facing addiction, mental health challenges, and co-occurring disorders. Find out more at harmonygrovebh.com. Follow and subscribe to My Last Relapse on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you like to stream podcasts. Got a question for us? Leave a message or voicemail at mylastrelapse.com. If you're feeling overwhelmed or struggling, you don't have to face it alone. Reaching out for support is a sign of strength, and help is always available. If you or anyone you know needs help, give us a call 24 hours a day at 888-691-8295.